Hi folks, thanks for joining me for this week's river tutorial. What you see in the vise is a very small but very heavy bug. It's 0.4 of a gram and I'm going to show you how to tie it. So without further ado, let's get into it. In the vise then is a Hanak H 450 barbless hook. It's at size 16, it's a jig superb, and it's on a medium wire hook in black nickel. Now coupled with that, I'm going to use a Java tungsten body size medium. These ones are from Troutline. Now when I'm tying these up, I tie them up in batches of 5, and what I do is I will cover the shank in super glue and simply slip the tungsten bead on, using my thumbnail as a guide to take it back to the eye, and then I will leave it to dry, and I will turn my vise and coat it underneath as well so it's well embedded onto the hook. Now I'm going to take that out because in true Blue Peter style, here's one I did earlier. So I'm going to catch that on. So the thread I'm going to be using today is the Semprfli Nano silk. It's at 12.0 and it's black. And the first thing I want to do is just get a little bit of super glue onto the back of this Java bead. And this is going to help me get my wraps on. So with the Java beads, there's slots along the back, and what I'm doing is I'm just initially catching in them slots. I'm going to come above the slot as well onto the actual head, and then start to bring my thread wraps in a crisscross fashion down the back of the bead. And the idea of this is just so that the bead is never going to part company from the hook. Now the reason I put super glue over the back is if you don't, what you end up finding is your thread slips off the back of the Java. It's very slippy, so I'm going to just remove that. Made a bit of a hash of that. For the rib then, I'm using some of Troutline's UV ribbing fibre, and this one, the flavour if you like, is blue violet. Now I've already been tying a few of these up for a grayling session, so I've got some of this off. It's really nice stuff. I'm going to catch it in just below the Java body and get a couple of turns, and then I'm going to use my thread just to create a ramp up to the bead so that it doesn't look too stepped, if you know what I mean. I want a nice taper to the body, and that's going to just do me a grand job. So I've got my ribbon fibre in place, and I need some body dubbing. Now what I'm going to be using is the Mad Rabbit Dubbing Plus, which I've got here from Troutline, and what it is it's a little bit peppered, as you can see. I don't want very much of this actually, so I'm going to just dub it on very lightly, just feeding from my left hand into my thumb and forefinger of my right hand onto the thread. Very, very sparse with the dubbing, because what I want is the fly to have a slim profile, so that 0.4 of a gram really gets down quick. If you have a lot of dubbing, you tend to lose that profile that's going to get your fly down deep quick. So I'm going to bring that up now. As you can see, there's little flecks of UV in the Mad Rabbit. I haven't quite got enough there, so I'm just going to pick up the little bit I had, and again nice and gentle, keeping it nice and sparse. There we go. So I'm happy with that. Next, I'm simply going to bring on the shank of the hook initially my UV ribbing fibre around, and I'm pulling that quite tight onto the shank, and I want to bring it up the body. Now just be careful with the turns, you don't want too many. I look for about 4 turns onto the body, and I'm going to bring that all the way up to the top here. Then I can catch that in with my thread, like so. Now I've just caught it in on your side, so I'm going to open my vise up and just come in with my scissors and remove my excess. It was a bit tight, that actually. I could have done with having a bit more of that UV ribbon fibre available for turning, but I've tied up a few of these and I just had that little bit left, so I thought I'd use it. Licking the thumb and forefinger of your left hand, get all that material back out the way and bring your thread back onto approximately where the first rib was on your Java bead. Now what I'm going to do next is use some Troutline Tinsel. This is pink, metallic pink. You're not going to see a lot of this in the fly, but just a hint. Just a hint. I fish a lot of chalk streams. It's kind of what fishing I have available to me down in the south here. And in the clear water, little hints of pink that glisten just seem to work really well. So I've caught that in, and I don't want a great deal of this on show, to be perfectly honest. Maybe a couple of widths, but I do want it to show through. So make sure you've got plenty on. You can, if you think that you've put too much on, don't worry, you can hide that in a minute. So once you're happy that you've got your band in place, couple of turns to hold it in, come in with your snips and remove the waste, then a tiny little bit more of the dubbing. It doesn't take much. And then you can come in right beside your pink band and just get 2 turns in there like so. Now to finish this off, I'm going to add a little bit of super glue to my thread. You can use UV resin if you wish. It works just the same. Get a couple of turns in there, and as I've misplaced my whip finish tool at the moment, I'm going to just simply put a half hitch in. I'm sure I threw it across the room in a rage, and that's why I can't find it. It still does give me jip, but there we go. That's your bug finished. 0.4 of a gram, which is pretty heavy for a size 16 fly. And this fly, it's not a sacrificial fly. I fully expect to catch plenty of fish on it. So I hope that was of some use to you. Just a quick video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate you clicking the subscribe button, and I'll see you all next time.